If you do not have dominion over your body, over your temple, how can you expect to change your entire life? My name is Spencer Freed. I run retreats all around the world. We have one in Costa Rica, February 20th for men. And the whole thing right now, man, is understanding the truth that you want to change the world, right? You want to change everything outside of you. But how can you expect to do that if you cannot change the internal, if you cannot master the internal state? And so what we call this in our program is dominion. You need dominion over yourself first. You need dominion over yourself before you can change the external world, before you can even think about the external world. Because listen, man, I'm here to tell you, we don't have to go down a super deep rabbit hole, but I'm here to tell you, man, everything's a dream that you're dreaming for you, okay? And some people are not ready to hear that. But the whole thing is, this dream is happening for you. This dream is happening for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to become the man that you know you deserve to be. So understand that whatever challenge that you're facing right now is actually happening for you. It's designed so you learn. So these things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. So that's the first step of understanding. The second is having full dominion over yourself. This is not my philosophy, but this is an ancient philosophy. Control your tongue, control your stomach, and control your, you know what, gentlemen. All right? You do all those, guys, you're in full integrity and are able to be the man that you want to be. You do not have control over your tongue. You say certain things. You get angry and you lash out at people, okay? Or let's say your stomach and you're overeating and you can't stop. You can't spend, I bet you a lot of you, and I say this out of love because I've been there and I want to push you, I bet you a lot of you can't fast for 24 hours. You can't go into a cold plunge. I hear this all the time at my gym. There's a guy, and this cold plunge isn't even that cold. We're in Florida. I'm not going to say where for all the creeps out there, but we're in Florida. And yeah, some of these people, man, they're like, yeah, no, it's cold, man. And it's like 52 degrees. And they're like, yeah, I went for a minute and a half. I'm like, and they're like, that's as far as that can go. And I stop them, and they probably think I'm like, you know, maybe even crazy. But I'm like, hey, man, your ancestors, like, do you know what your ancestors did? You know what I mean? Like your ancestors just like were on the front lines or whatever, you know, they traveled, they just ran all day, bro. You know what I mean? Like their ancestors just ran, man. That's what our ancestors have done, guys. Your ancestors used to travel across continents. Your ancestors, like Columbus, like listen, he gets a bad rep. He wasn't an amazing guy. But we gotta give credit where credit's due. He like literally sailed across the entire ocean. You have people exploring the entire world, leaving the unknown, looking for something new, right? Trusting in God, trusting in faith. It's always God-driven. And you can't wake up on time, and you can't jump into the cold plunge, and you can't stay in the cold plunge for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And that's OD. You don't need to do that long. I'm saying 3 minutes. But you have to understand, David Goggins talks about this. There's the inner bee, the inner betch. I don't know if I can say that on here. It's the inner betch. You have to be careful of the inner betch. Always imagine your inner betch talking like that. It's like it wants to go shopping, guys, okay? It wants to go shopping. And you cannot go shopping right now, all right? You gotta work. You gotta work. All right. Let's get back on track. So, Spencer, what's your point? That's probably what you're talking about. And you're right. Let's get back on track. Let's get really direct here. My point is this. The first pillar of our program that's literally designed to take a man who's already successful but unfulfilled, take him through an incubator called the Divine Masculine Incubator. You know what incubators are? Like you put an egg in it, it creates something. Through this whole process, this whole system, and he leaves disconnected from his flesh in a good way and connected to God, connected to his heart. Because I'll tell you what, man, that man and you, what do you guys have in common? You have a God-appointed mission. And the only way for you to know that and understand that is to get out of your head and stop stimulating yourself with all these things, man. The food, the corn, the maize. You know what I'm talking about, guys. We're not talking about corn. We're not actually talking about corn. Any ladies watching, we're not talking about corn. The guys know what I'm talking about. Stop watching that stuff. It's destroying you, man. It's destroying you. Stop doing the duty. Stop doing any activity around there. Guys, you have to understand this very, very simple but powerful point. Are you ready? Take a deep breath with me, man. In through the nose, out the mouth, let everything go. Open up your eyes. Apologies. You are a man of God. And so what this is a temple. Your body is a temple. I'm going to be posting another video with this whiteboard right here. If you see this whiteboard, I'm going to be giving you guys some really good value so I can help you out. Because I wish I had this in the beginning of my journey, of my spiritual journey. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm 30. I'm 30 years old. And I just started really feeling God. And I just started really feeling present. So it's never too late, you know? I know that you see online, there's people like 22, 23, 24, and they're crushing it. But I promise you, man, I bet you most of them are not happy. Right? There's no point in making a boatload of money and doing all these different things if you're not present and you're not connected to source, you're not connected to who you are. Because I'll tell you what, man, the depth of life is so much more important than the surface level stuff. And what we're talking about, like Spencer, what are you talking about deep down? It's God. That's what it comes down to, man. So you are a man of God, okay? You have a mission on earth, and that's a separate video about legacy, which is another pillar. That's our last pillar. Our first pillar is strength and honor. And part of strength and honor is understanding that this, guys, is not just a body, man. This is a temple, and you must treat it as such. Because when you go into a temple, when you go to church, you bring your beautiful wife, your beautiful kids. Are you messing around? Or are you at your best behavior, man? Are you like in the audience and you're like, hey guys, you're telling them to pay attention, even if it's a progressive church or a Catholic, whatever it is. But the whole thing is like, hey, pay attention. We don't mess around in here. We listen to the pastor because he has a message from God. And why do you do that? Because you respect that space. But when it comes to this space, man, when it comes to this space where your soul resides, and we're not talking about the brain, we're not even talking about the heart. We're talking about something deeper. But the heart's pretty close. The mind and your brain, that's a separate video too, but you do not need that, man. You don't need it. That's of the ego, the dopamine chasing. It's all pleasure, 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 pushing the button, man. Pushing the button for what? For what? Because you're so disconnected from God, man. You're so disconnected from your heart that you have to escape the dream. And then you wake up the next morning, and guess what? You're like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do these things. And that dream sucks. But I'm here to tell you, man, you can wake up. You can wake up from the dream, from the illusion, because that is what it is. I'm here to promise you. I'm here to tell you, man, because I've been through that. I've been through massive depression. Like believe me, man, the darkest of dark times. I've been through massive anxiety where I felt so separate from myself, from other people. I didn't want to be here anymore, man. I couldn't be in my body. So I'm not saying this out of just like, oh, this feels good. I hope you hear it in my voice. I've been through it. So understand whatever you're going through right now is good. And Jocko Willink talked about that. He had this really interesting, kind of funny video. He's like, you got punched in the face? Good. That means you'll wake up with a harder face. You know, you lost your job? Good. You lost your girlfriend? Good. Me and my friends were like messing around with that, man, because it's like you could say anything. It's like, hey, I'm not going to talk about it here. It's too inappropriate. But it's good, right? It's good. It's good. But in all seriousness, man, like all jokes aside, I'm talking to you. Your suffering is a blessing. I promise you. Okay? Whatever you're going through, I'm here for you. I understand the darkness through those times. But understand this. If you're a victim to that, it will never work. That's kind of the universe's code. If you're saying, why is this happening to me? You can't expect salvation. You can't expect God. It won't work. Because the secret is knowing that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You understand that truth. You understand that vision. You're free. You're completely free. But if you continue saying, why is this happening to me? And you surround yourself with the same people who are complaining, if I sense, and I know this is savage, but this is where I'm at in my life right now. And I say this in relation to you, for you to understand how powerful you can be and how savage you can be. And a lot of people won't like that, and that's okay. But you're coming from love, and that's important. It's all about the energy that you bring. Are you coming from hate? That's not cool, because that's not God. God is one thing. God is one thing, man. It is one thing. It is unity. And fear and the devil can be many things, right? It can be the scrolling. It could be whatever. It could be the food. It could be the corn. You're in a field of corn, man. It could be all that. But there's one God, bro. There's one God. There's one. And you'll feel him here. You won't feel him here. And when you're scrolling and you're clicking on different YouTube videos, you won't find God. You won't find good information. You have to relax. You have to relax, man. You have to really sit with yourself and meditate for a long period of time and sit in silence, because only in that silence will you feel God. So back to what I was saying. I know that was a little bit of a rant. I hope that was motivational. Because I care about you guys. This channel is going to be huge. And I say that not out of ego, but because there's a huge message here. This brand is literally 30 years, well, let's say 20. When did I start suffering? When did I start suffering? Probably when I was like 12, dude. I was like 12 years old. I was suffering. Seriously, I'm just so anxious. I used to wake up and put makeup on my back. That's the truth. And that's kind of a weird truth. Spencer, why do you put makeup on your back? I used to put makeup on my face too, because I had so much acne. I had so much acne on my face when I was like 13, because I went through puberty really early. So I had a huge amount of acne on my face and a huge amount of acne on my back. And I was going to this pool party, and I told my mom, I'm like, I don't want to go because I have all this acne. And she's like, okay, honey, let me help you out. And she would put, God bless my mom, she would put makeup on my back. And I went to this pool party and it didn't work. Long story short, the makeup didn't work. And yeah, it was super traumatizing. But that's the whole thing, guys. We have these unprocessed emotions. So, but just to get back on track, the whole point of this video, man, is your body is a temple, okay? Your body is a temple. So you go to church, you go to these different things, and you respect that. But what do? You don't wake up on time. You do not keep your word, which is blasphemous, my brother, because your word is of God's. So when you say you're going to do something and you do not do it, I can't help you. The world can't help you. Literally, if I have a client and he's like, yeah, I said I'm going to do this and I don't do it, I'm like, dude, let's end it right now. I don't want to work with you, period. And I say that out of love, out of hard love, because it's like, if that man doesn't keep his word, there's nothing I can do, bro. Like, how can I help that man if he doesn't keep his word? How can he help himself? He can't. And that's why it's like, hey, man, I don't want your money. Take your money and use it somewhere else, bro. Your word is bond. When your heart wants to do something and you do it, or your heart wants to do something and you don't do it. Let's say you're like, I'm going to keep these calories on a daily basis and you don't do it. It is blasphemous, and you're disrespecting God. and you know it, and you walk down the street, man, and you look yourself in the mirror and you can't look at yourself. You ever have that? I've certainly have had that. You look yourself in the mirror and you're like, I can't look at you, bro. I can't look at you. And you look away from yourself and you meet people, throughout your day, and you talk to them and you look away and you're just unconfident. Why? You don't want them to see you. You understand me? You don't want them to see you. You don't want to be seen. And so what happens is when you don't keep your word, this is so true, right? When you don't keep your word, you live in shame. And shame, if you ever look at the consciousness scale, is the worst emotion that you can possibly feel. It's the worst. It's the worst than grief. It's literally the worst. It's 20 on a consciousness scale. Enlightenment is like 1,000. When you're at 20, you don't want anybody to see you. So you stay in your apartment, you do different things, but you don't want people to see you. How do you get out of that, right? Because I'm not here to say, okay, you're at shame, see you later. I don't want that, bro. I want you at love. I want you at enlightenment. If we can have everybody out here enlightened, I think that'd be fantastic, bro. We gotta share the love. It starts with your word. Respect your body as much as the temple, because it is one. The foods that you put into your body, how do you let certain foods or people, guys, certain foods or people enter your temple? You don't respect yourself. Because if you did, you would say, I raise the standard, mother effer. I raise the standard. So raise the standard, just like you go to a church and you raise the standard there, raise the standard for this. And I also mean music, I mean people, I mean places, I mean things. Defend it. If I hear music I don't like, I do this. I say, I don't want you in my soul. Like, that's how savage you have to be. What I was saying before is, if I sense a person being toxic, I'm like, you're out. I see who you are right now, and you're out. Because a lot of people, they pretend to be lovey-dovey, or they pretend to care about you, or they pretend to be like healed. And listen, not everybody's healed. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not fully healed. But I'll also be like, hey man, what happened back there? Like, I'm sorry, that's not who I am, and I want to move forward properly. But if somebody like really lashes out, like that's not unhealed, that's like something's going on. Like, I would never attack somebody like deeply. And if that has happened, you cut them off. You say, listen, I don't need you, and they apologize. No, I know what you said. I know what you did. Right now, I think we should part ways and come back when we're more healed. And that is a really conscious way of living, man. It's a really beautiful way of living. So let's wrap up this video. Okay, let's try to keep it below 20 minutes. Your body is a temple, okay, of God, of source. So understand, the more and more that you connect with God, understand that He's trying to work through you. The only way for Him to work through you is you clear the space. You clear the space. Just like you go into a church and you say, shh, do that to the devils that are around you trying to get into your temple. And I promise you, man, once you live that way with strength and honor, you want to be seen. And when you want to be seen, what happens? You're able to enter step 2 of our program, which is release your trauma, because everything's essentially unprocessed trauma in your brain. What else? I just want to say I love you, man. If you watch this whole thing, I love you. I'm not interested in growing my Instagram, bro. I'm not interested in growing my TikTok. I'm only interested in growing this because I need people's attention in order to help you. I'm not interested in playing the algorithm, bro. I'm going to keep posting this. I'm going to post shorts. And that's it, because everything else, I don't want to be like, this message isn't for the masses. It's for very rare people like you who watch the whole thing and take action. Follow a workout program, treat your body like a temple for 7 days. Get back to me. I'll be happy to help you further. All right? Subscribe. Talk soon.